It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds, and welcome to the dictionary. I am your host, Spencer, and I am wearing Batman socks. The first word in this episode is the word gild, G-I-L-D. First form from the 14th century. It is a verb, and it's only transitive. So, number one, to overlay with or as if with a thin covering of gold. Gild and gold. Why don't we just say gold? Gold your stuff. Why don't you go gold your toilet so you can have a goldlet? No, you would be gilding your toilet. You put a thin covering of gold over everything. That's like Midas and also other greedy people. They just like to gild everything. Number 2A, to give money to. So if there is somebody asking for money, you say, I'm going to gild you. Oh, no, don't put a thin covering of gold over me. No, I'm going to give you money. Oh, okay, I accept. 2B, to give an attractive but often deceptive appearance to. Ooh, an attractive but deceptive appearance to. So it's like covering something. It's like, oh, it's very pretty. I like to look at it. But, oh, it's a trick. It's a trick. What's going on underneath? Underneath that attractiveness, there's a deception. Like me. 2C is archaic, and it is, now, this is interesting, to make bloody. To make bloody? Well, we obviously will have to look at the etymology. Gilder is a noun. This is really just from the word for gold. Old English gold, it means gold. So to make bloody? How did this happen? What is going on here? If you gild something, you are making it bloody? I need to do a search for this. What is the context? No, not gold. Let's see. This says it can mean to smear with or make red with blood, often used in a literary or historical context to signify staining with gore. This usage appears in Shakespeare's Macbeth, where it ironically suggests covering someone in blood rather than gold. So, right. So it still comes from the idea of covering something with gold, from the number one definition. But Shakespeare said, no, I'm going to flip the script on you. You know, Shakespeare was always flipping the script and said, I think that it would be funny if they use this word gild to cover with blood instead of gold. There's a quote, by the way, from Macbeth. I'll gild the faces of the grooms withal. So I guess in context that meant smearing their faces with blood. Blood. Okay, we have a phrase for gild. It is, you may have heard this, gild the lily. And that means to add unnecessary ornamentation to something beautiful in its own right. The lily is already beautiful and gorgeous. Why would you cover it in gold? Why would you add something beautiful to something that is already beautiful? Why do we need to add gold or something beautiful to something that's quote-unquote not beautiful? Everything is beautiful in its own way. But I guess there's this idea that some things are already like, not literally beautiful, but just like, it's already good. Why do you need to add more to it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, I need to make a sound effect. I'm going to go, bloop. Now we have the second form of the word gild, which is a variation of the word gild, spelled G-U-I-L-D, which will be near the end of the G's. Bloop. Next we have gilgamesh. Gilgamesh, capital Gilgamesh. You can also pronounce it Gilgamesh. I absolutely will be saying that now when I say the word Gilgamesh. It is a noun from 1894, and it is a legendary Sumerian king and hero of the Gilgamesh epic. Should I put a link in the show notes for the Gilgamesh epic, maybe online somewhere? The entire text is out there available for you to read, and then you can learn about the legendary Sumerian king and hero of the title Gilgamesh epic, and the character is the titular Gilgamesh. Of course, I know they might be giants, and they have a song called the Mesopotamians, and one of the names that is mentioned is Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh. We're the Mesopotamians. That's exactly how it goes. I did it perfectly. All right, I don't know much about Gilgamesh. I guess let's just do a quick little search of what is one great thing that Gilgamesh did. Give me some information from the epic. One of the most significant and lasting achievements of Gilgamesh was building the massive strong walls of his city, Uruk. They are presented as a monumental accomplishment symbolizing protection, civilization, and an enduring legacy that lasts beyond a human lifespan. Did he build it all himself? That's a lot of building for one person. Now we have the word, oh no, this one is Gill. First form spelled Gill, Gill, noun from the 14th century. It says, go see the wait table, stop looking over here, go somewhere else in the book, and you can learn about Gill. Yeah, so I don't know, but I can tell you the etymology says this is from the Middle Latin gillus, from the Latin gillo or jello, which means water pot. So, I don't know, maybe like when this water pot was filled, it was a certain size, and then they were like, hey, that weighs this amount every time you put water in it, so we're going to call it a gill. All right, the weight table, I don't know, I'm just so curious. I typed what? How much does a gill weigh? I assume it weighs something because it's sending me to the weight table. Oh, it's a unit of volume, not weight. The weight table is going to be so confusing. Typically used for liquids, with a U.S. gill equaling 4 fluid ounces, which is a half a cup, which is about 118 milliliters. A British imperial gill equals 5 fluid ounces, which is about 142 milliliters. It is used primarily to measure spirits or for cooking, defined as 1/4 of a pint. Oh, it's unfortunate that the U.S. and the British have different amounts for this gill, and that's very confusing to me. And how have I never heard of this? A gill. Gill. I guess we got plenty of other volumes that we don't need to use it so much. Okay, moving on to the second form of this word is pronounced gill. I got very confused, as you can see. This one is a noun from the 14th century. Number 1, an organ, as of a fish, for obtaining oxygen from water. You may have heard about these gills on fish. I don't have any fish here today. They all went home after the party last night. And so, yeah, it's this amazing structure that these slits on the side of their head, their body, their neck, it's in the neck region, and they bring in the water because they can't help but be in the water because they're in the water all the time. And the gills are like, I'm going to grab you oxygen particles. You still need oxygen because you're this type of living thing. And there's oxygen in the water, so we're going to pull it out, and then we're just going to let the rest of the water just flow through the gills. Goes in the mouth, out of the gills. I think if you're a fish and I got this wrong, tell me how it works. Tell me how your gills work. Okay, so then we have 2A. The synonym is the word wattle, W-A-T-T-L-E, and it looks like it's saying it's the third form of the word wattle, and I think of that as being some of this stuff that hangs underneath your chin, your jaw. That's, chickens got it. Some turkeys, I think they got it. But some humans have it as well. They have a wattle, which I guess some people call a gill, unless it's a different wattle that I don't know about. I thought I knew all the wattles, but I don't. 2B, the flesh under or about the chin or jaws. Okay, so yes, that is the wattle that I'm thinking of. And it is usually used in plural. So you say, oh, you got some gills going on over there underneath your chin and jaw. And, sometimes it just happens. Sometimes you just got to deal with your wattle. If I ever get a beautiful wattle, I'm going to shake it all over the place. Shake your wattle. No more shaking the booty. No, you must shake your gills. All right, 2C. One of the radiating plates forming the undersurface of the cap of a mushroom fungus. One of the radiating plates forming the undersurface of the cap of a mushroom fungus. So, well, I am imagining a mushroom in my head, and if you look underneath the cap, you see all of those lines. Those would be, I guess, the radiating plates that, I guess, are they there to help form the structure of a mushroom cap? And so those are called gills. Well, I do believe that maybe the gills of a fish have a sort of similar, I guess I just need to look at a picture. Fish gill. Let's go look up that. Yes, they definitely have these sort of, I guess it's different on different ones, but yes, it's this structure that's made up of a lot of these lines and things. And, I think with all of that surface area, it's able to pull a lot of oxygen out. And so, I think when people looked at the mushroom, they were like, hey, this kind of looks like the gills of a fish, because we know what those look like, and we are gonna call these gills now. You mushrooms got gills, and people got wattles. Gild, that is an adjective. You are describing something as gild. Lots of fish, maybe all the fish, are gilled fish. And then we have a phrase. It is to the gills, and it means as full or as much as possible. As in the example, a suitcase packed to the gills. So does that mean that if we're using this metaphorically, that if you're filling something to the gills in a fish, you start at the tail, and it gets filled all the way up to the gills. And then it's pouring out of the gills because they are open to the world. But they still have a face. They still have a mouth and a skull. So I think that this phrase is wrong. To the gills is like, it's just about as much. It's almost there. I guess it basically means as full or as much as possible. Because once you go to the gills, then everything starts pouring out, and you can't even get to the mouth. It would pour out there too. Why isn't the phrase to the tail? You start filling in the mouth, but I guess if you're filling in the mouth, then it all goes all the way to the bottom to the tail. So I guess that makes sense. Okay. Now, let's look at the etymology for gill. It is from the Middle English gill, of Scandinavian origin, akin to the Swedish word gal, which means gill, from the Old Norse gjöllnar, which means lips. Lips. I guess the gills, they're very red and have sort of this curved shape. So I guess I could sort of see a lip thing there, but also maybe there's a connection to the fish lips. Maybe, I don't know. What's the rest of this? It is akin to the Greek word keline, which means lip or jawbone. So yeah, and the gills are sort of in that jawbone region, I think, of the fish. Yes? Great. All right. So now we got to move on to... That's the sound of the water going through the gills, pulling out the oxygen. We have the third form of gill. This one is pronounced gill. This is a verb from 1884. Transitive, the synonym is gillnet, which will be later in this episode. And intransitive is talking about a fish. And it is to become entangled in a gillnet. All right. Well, gillnet seems pretty obvious now when we have that context. So the transitive verb of the word gill is to maybe use a gillnet, to gillnet something, trap something, I guess. We'll learn more soon. And then the intransitive, when the fish is gilled, it has been entangled in the gillnet. So the fish don't want to be gilled. They say, don't gill me, and also don't kill me, and don't gillnet me. Giller, that is a noun, the one who is using the gillnet, I assume. Now we have the fourth form of gill. This is a noun from the 14th century. Number 1 is British, and the synonym is the word ravine. So, like, a ravine. That's with sort of a canyon type of area where there's high parts and low parts, and maybe they're going back and forth and all curvy or something. And the British people call those gills. British people, you got to call me up and tell me, why do you call those gills? These are the things that I need to know. Number 2 is also British, and it is a narrow stream or rivulet. There is a bit of etymology, which may help us understand this a little bit more, so we don't have to go talk to the British people. We can just read it up on our own. From the Middle English, gill, from the Old Norse, gill, akin to the Old High German gill, which means hernia? Hernias, ravines, narrow streams, gill? I mean, I obviously see a connection from hernia to gill, but how did we get to ravines? Ravines and streams for the word gill, which meant hernia? I don't know. I don't get it. Somebody else smarter than me can tell me all about it. The fifth form of this word is pronounced gill. It is a noun often capitalized from the 15th century. The synonyms are girl and sweetheart. Girl and sweetheart. Well, okay, so this is from Gill, spelled with a capital G, 2 L's. We also have the name Gill spelled with a J, but I'm guessing that one came from this one because people saw the G and they were like, Gill? And you said, no, it's pronounced Jill. All right, then we're going to change the spelling of your name to a J, which typically has a J sound. Now your name is Jill with a J. By the way, Jill with G is the nickname for Jillian. But it's not explaining why the synonyms are the word girl and sweetheart. So I don't know. You're calling somebody, hey, you're my girl, you're my sweetheart, you're my Jill, you're my Jillian. Jill spelled with 2 L's or also 1 L. That's fine too. Oh no, this one does have 2 L's. I got confused because of the pronunciation only has 1. Okay, yeah, I guess you're calling somebody they're Jill, you're Jill, they're Jill, they are a Jill. Okay. Moving on to Gill. No, this would be Gill, I think. Gill Arch. 2 words. Noun from 1879. Number 1. It's a long definition. Any of the bony or cartilaginous arches or curved bars extending dorsoventrally and placed one behind the other on each side of the pharynx and supporting the gills of fishes and amphibians. So this is the structure inside of this fish's body that is supporting the gills. I'm seeing pictures of these gills, and it does look like they are basically on this cartilaginous sort of white curved thing. So I guess that would be the Gill Arch. I'm just gonna say that's right because the gills themselves look sort of like this muscly, tender kind of thing, and they need that structure to sit on. Bony cartilaginous arches or curved bars extending dorsal eventually in place one behind the other. Yeah, and there's like a few of them, 3, 4, 5. I don't know, and they're back to back. That one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5, I think. Okay, so that's the Gill Arch, number 1, and number 2 is any of the rudimentary ridges in the embryos of all higher vertebrates that correspond to the gill arches. Oh, okay, so now let's look up Gill Arch human, because I think we might be in the higher vertebrates area, but it's in the embryo stage, so we lose this. It's the same part of the body that turns into the gill area. Let's see. This picture is very tiny. Is there, maybe there's a bigger one I can find, but I'm going to assume it's in the neck area somewhere. Hold on, I got to look at this close. Well, I'm not seeing it on the thing, but it's a very long article, and there's going to be something. Here's a whole video. How human ears evolved from gillfishes. Ah, okay. So the embryo part that is the gill arch turns into the ear-ish. Anyway, I think I might have to post a link for this because there's a lot. But yes, I believe then maybe it turns into our ears. Which, if you look at the structure, the positioning of the gills on the fish and the ears on the human, it kind of makes sense. We have a different shape, but yeah, okay, great. I'm going to say these are my gill arches, and they are arched, so that's something. All right, moving on to gill cleft. Gill cleft, noun from circa 1889, number 1. The synonym is the number 1 definition for gill slit, which will be later in this episode. And number 2 is the number 2 definition for the word gill slit. Those are the synonyms. So a gill cleft is a gill slit, and put a pin in that. Next, we have gill cover. Cover. Ooh, where's my gill cover? I have to cover my gills. Don't look at my gills. I also call them earmuffs. This is a noun from 1776. The synonym is the 1B definition for the word operculum or operculum. It's probably operculum. What the hell is this word? Operculum. I am jumping to the O's. I am not going to tell you what it is because that is not allowed. You are not allowed to know what this is, but I will give you some simplicities after I scan this very quickly in my head as I'm talking. It's a part of the body, and mollusks are, maybe they have it. Ooh, yes, literally the covering of the gills of a fish. Okay, so, and we probably, we had a fish illustration. Let's go back to that then. But yeah, you can't leave your gills exposed to the world. They don't appreciate that. They're very tender. They're very sensitive, the gills, I believe. That is what the fish have told me. And so you have to cover them. Let's see. Look, here's the fish illustration. The illustration. Oh, yes, number 5 is the operculum. And yeah, that's literally just the part that covers. I mean, we went through a whole lot to come up with something that was very, very simple. But, I'd never heard of the word operculum. Oh, I was going to look at the pronunciation, but I forgot. We're just going to assume that I am correct as usual all the time, obviously. All right, let's move on from gill cover, literally the cover of the gill, to this is the word gilly, spelled Gillie, or you can add an H after the G. Gilly. Noun from 1705. Number 1, a male attendant on a Scottish Highland chief. On a Scottish Highland chief? On or for? So you have a Scottish Highland chief and the male attendant of them, but why would they be on them? Are they sitting on their back all the time? But broadly, the synonym is just attendant. So the Scottish Highland chief's attendant is a gillie. Number 2, this is chiefly Scottish and Irish, and I don't know why number 1 didn't say that. This is a fishing and hunting guide, is a gillie. Now, is that related to the fish gills, literally? It seems possible, maybe. Number 3 is a shoe with a low top and a decorative lacing. Well, now I want to see a picture of this gillie shoe. Let's see, where are the letters? Let's see, gillie shoe, gillie shoes. This one is spelled with a GH, it looks like. So that's where that comes from. But yes, they got a low top. I don't know. It looks like there's a bunch of different kinds. They're kind of fancy. A kind of shoe that you might wear out to a party, or maybe some business people wear these all the time. Not me. But yes, there's lots of different kinds of these. I guess the thing is that they have low tops, and there's gillie dance shoes, but it looks like there's other types. And low top and a decorative, that's the thing. A low top and the lacing must be quite decorative. And yeah, these dance shoes have a lot of lacings going on. These one look like they were made out of leaves. I mean, I don't think they were. That's just the style. It was the style of the time. All right, gillies. Do I need some gillies? So this word is from the Scottish Gaelic gill or the Irish giola, which means youth or gillie. But what's that gillie? Is that gillie the shoe, the attendant, the hunting, fishing, and hunting guide? Just the youth in general. Maybe the youthful people are wearing the gillie shoes? I don't know. There's a lot going on with this word. Okay, now let's go on to gillnet. One word. This one is the transitive verb from 1949, and it is to catch with a gill net. And what you are catching is probably fish. And of course, we did some learning about the gill net earlier when we had the word gill, the verb, and it was about being entangled in a gill net, or just the action of gill netting, which was the one that we just learned. Catching fish with a gill net. Oh, what's a gill net? Blah, blah, blah. It is 2 words. Noun from 1796. It is a flat net suspended vertically in the water with meshes that allow the head of the fish to pass. Aha. But entangle the gills upon withdrawal. Well, this sounds pretty friggin' terrible for the fish. I now understand why it is called a gill net specifically, because it is the gills that are causing the trouble. Well, the net's really the one causing the trouble. Well, it's the humans really that are causing the trouble. But when the fish, their head goes through, and I guess it's small enough because their head is smaller and tapered, that the rest of their body gets trapped, and they're like, oh crap, I gotta reverse, beep, 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 beep. I gotta get out of here. Oh wait, my gills, because they stick out and they have those flaps, they get stuck in the net. And I am not gonna look up pictures of this because I don't want to see fish trapped in a gill net. And I don't love that at all. Okay, let's move on to gill netter. One word, noun from circa 1889. It is a boat equipped for or engaged in fishing with, of course, gill nets. Also, a person who fishes with a gill net is a gill netter. Maybe I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. Now we have gill raker. Our raker, like raking the leaves. Oh, it's fall time. Let's rake the leaves and put them in a pile and jump in the pile, and then we gotta rake them up again. So gill raker is a noun from 1880. Any of the bony processes on a gill arch that divert solid substances away from the gills. Back in the day, before evolution really kicked in, the fish were like, what's all these solid substances going through my gills? They're getting stuck. And so and I mean evolution, nature, invented these gill rakers. Clever name. It's like they're raking the solid substances away. Yeah, so if you look at pictures of these gills, you will see this red gill, and it's sitting on the gill arch, this bony or cartilaginous structure. And then on the other side of this gill arch, the gills on one side, and on the inner arch side are these protuberances, these things that stick out, these lines, it looks like a rake. It looks like a rake for leaves. And it's just gonna keep all of those solid surfaces at bay. These solid substances, keep them inside the body so the fish can eat them and not get stuck in the gills. It's like water can go through, but that's all we want. That's all we want to go through. All right. Those were the gill rakers, and we're gonna move on to gill slit. Now, this one is related to gill cleft. So think about that as I read this to you. Sit down comfortably. Sit down on the floor. I shall tell you the story about the gill slit. It is a noun from 1854. Number 1, any of the openings or clefts between the gill arches in vertebrates that breathe by gills, through which water taken in at the mouth passes to the exterior and so bathes the gills. Well, you just gave me a very big description of how gills work. But, okay, so the gill slit is literally just the slit in the body of the fish or the other living thing that has gills. The whole thing is the gill slit, and then inside of that, well, on the outside of that is the gill cover, and then on the inside are the gill arches, and then the gills are on the gill arch, and then on the other side of the gill arch are the gill rakers, and these are all. The gill slit is also called the gill cleft. Are there any other of these gill words? And then they might get caught in the gill net, and we cry. Okay, so gill slits. Those are the big old openings. Now we have number 2, any of the rudimentary grooves in the neck region of the embryos of air-breathing vertebrates that correspond to the gill slits. The rudimentary grooves in the neck region of the embryos. So again, we had somewhere, just the gills. What was it? It was the gill arches, are the rudimentary ridges in the embryos, and then that area is also the gill slit. So when we're tiny little embryos being created, we had these ridges and things that then your body was like, hey, do you want to be a fish? If you want to go be a fish, I'll turn these into gills. But if you don't, then we're gonna make them ears. I feel like I have heard of stories of humans who have like just sort of odd structures that are like, what's going on? Or maybe I'm just thinking about movies. Human with gills. It knows that I'm talking about gills. What is this? Some people have some. Now that one looks fake. That's a prosthetic. But this person is showing some sort of line on their neck. This one is pushing their ear to make it look like they have gills. This person is showing behind their ear. They have some weird bumps. Ooh, have you checked behind your ears? Maybe you have some weird bumps. This person has a little inner bump on the top of their ear that people are thinking that it maybe came from their gills. Interesting. Yes, I do believe that maybe there could be some tiny, tiny little things like that. This one says a boy had fish gills in his neck. I don't see what we're talking about, but yeah, maybe by your ears or your neck you could have some funny little shapes or things. But in general, no, we don't got them. Okay, and of course with AI and CGI and Photoshop, people can very easily make it look like people have gills. And also makeup. Don't forget about makeup. All right, what do we got next? We got number 3 for gill slit is the external opening to the cavity containing the gills when a protective covering of the gills is present. The external opening to the cavity. Yeah, it's just the opening of the gills. Is the gill slit. Okay, moving on to our very last entry here. Ooh, I just got some oxygen. Now we have, this would be gillyflower. Gillyflower. One word. Flower is spelled like your, the lilies, when you gild the lilies. Those are flowers. So gillyflower is gillyflower is a noun from 1551. The synonym is the number 2 definition for the word carnation. I've heard of carnation before. That's a type of flower. So they're also called gillyflowers. Why are they gillyflowers? Well, it's by folk etymology from the Middle English gilofree, which means clove. Also from the Old French girofle. Also from the Latin carophyllum. Also from the Greek karyophyllon, which is from the word karyon. This is Greek still, which means nut. Karyon means nut, and phylon, which means leaf. So nut leaf. And there is more at the words careen and blade. So somehow, maybe these flowers, they described them as nut leaves. Maybe their leaves look like nuts. What kind of nuts? There's a lot of kind of nuts out there. We got peanuts, which aren't really nuts. We got walnuts. We got macadamia nuts. Or just go watch that scene from Best in Show where he's talking about nuts. And then it just sort of evolved, and the gillyflowers are the carnations. And that's that. That's that. We're all done with that. So now let's pick a word of the episode. Today we had gild, gilgamesh, Gill, Gill Arch, Gill cleft, Gill cover, Gilly, Gill net, Gill netter, Gill raker, Gill slit, and gillyflower. Okay, so I don't have strong feelings about fishes and their gills, other than I'm very happy that they have them so they can get the oxygen. But I don't believe that I will pick any of these gill words. We had a lot of them. Let's see. Do I want to pick gild? I don't love the idea of covering things in gold. Anything else that was really sort of different, really jumped out at me? I guess let's just pick Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh, building walls and other things. I don't know what Gilgamesh did. I just know that he built a wall. Gilgamesh. All right, it's movie time. What do we got? What do we got movie-wise? We got here, I watched that movie, Wuthering Heights. And I believe, is it the name of the house that she lives in is called Wuthering Heights? Or is it the other guy's house? Anyway, I think it's one of the houses. I had never read the book before. I did not know the story at all. And it's really just about these two people who are falling in love. And that's all I'm going to say. It's a little old I don't know what year it's supposed to take place, and it's been a while since I saw it. But yeah, this new one, it's very, very romantic and sexy at times, and then there were a couple of times where I was like, wow, you're going there? Okay, you're going there. And let's talk about another one. Okay, this one is called Come See Me in the Good Light, and this is a documentary. It was up for the Oscars for Best Documentary, and all I'll say is you have to watch it. It's so, so good. It's the story of, I guess, the last year or so of this person's life, and this person was they were a poet. Were they what was their role? Was it hold on, I gotta look it up so I get it right. Where's the M here? Come see me in the good light. Here we go. Oh, well, yeah. Ooh, I don't even know. It's just so, oh yes, Andrea Gibson, poet, activist, amazing story, fascinating person. I know a lot of people know who they are, and I did not. And it's just kind of amazing to learn about their story, and just they have cancer, and yep, I believe it was cancer, and it's just heart-wrenching and funny and beautiful and sad, and you need to watch it because it is oh so very good, and also beautiful to look at. It's a beautifully shot film. Okay, that's it for me today. That's all you get from me. I hope you have enjoyed this episode and all of the other episodes, and I hope you enjoy all the future episodes because we got a lot to talk about. Until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.